Hi everyone, and welcome to January's long distance card clubs. These are the 4 cards that we're going to be making. We're going to start off showing you how to make this one. So this is what you'll get in your kit, together with one eyeball. You're going to adhere your crumb cake onto your blue piece, and then your, what's this one called? Your Coastal Cabana onto your crumb cake, your oval onto your Coastal Cabana, and then you're going to cut the arms off your little monster right there. Take the arms and adhere them so that they're sticking up. Then put your sentiment over where the arms are attached, and your little heart on top of that. Adhere your eyeball to his head, and then you end up with that card. The next card we're going to make is this one. And you'll get a piece like this in your kit together with a blank piece and all the hearts. Now your pearls won't be attached, you need to attach them yourselves, but the pearls will be in your kit. So what you need to do is adhere your brown piece onto your white piece, and then your stamped image onto your brown piece. Peel off the dimensionals of the back of your hearts and adhere them onto there, and that's how you get that card. Now I'm just going to show you how we do this technique. So you'll have a blank piece of cardstock, you need some painter's tape and the colors that you want to use, and in this instance we are using Coastal Cabana, crushed curry and crisp cantaloupe. So I'm going to start with the Coastal Cabana. You're going to take your piece of painter's tape, lay it in your ink pad and rub it. Be careful, try not to get the ink on your fingers, because the last thing you want to do is smudge the ink across your image. You can just see where the ink is if you look through the tape. Adhere that. Take your next color, and that is our crushed curry. Do the same thing again. Lay your tape in your ink pad. Being careful not to get ink on your fingers. Lift that off, and I think you can see the crushed curry through the tape a little bit better than you could the Coastal Cabana. Adhere that down, and then our last color is our crisp cantaloupe, and the same thing. You can see I've got some ink on my tape. Okay, so you're going to just rub that in. Don't push down too hard because you don't want the tape to actually stick to your cardstock. And then you're going to peel your tape back carefully. You can see it actually stuck to my cardstock a little bit over there, but it's not a problem. The ink is still... Oh dear, that one's tearing quite badly. And then the last piece. Okay, and there you have it. So that's how you get those nice neat stripes across your card, and you end up with that card. Okay, the next card we're going to make involves another technique as well, and it's just basically watercoloring on watercolor paper. That's this card. And what you want to do is you want your ink to dry really before you add your next color, otherwise it sort of runs into each other. It depends on what look you want. I don't mind it running in certain colors, but other colors I really don't like it running in. This is what you're going to get. You're going to get a piece that's already colored for you, and a blank piece of watercolor ink, your tempting turquoise, your hearts, and your little gems. And your gems again aren't going to be on your hearts, they're going to be packed, so you'll need to put the gems on yourself. So to put the card together, again, pretty simple. Adhere your watercolor paper to your tempting turquoise cardstock. Take the dimensionals off the back of your hearts and stick them on your cardstock. Again, very simple to put together, and I'm just going to show you quickly how I got this background. You're going to take your piece of watercolor paper, and it needs to be watercolor paper. It doesn't work with any other cardstock. And I started with the yellow in the middle. I'm going to leave the card just so you can see what it looks like. Picking up your ink with your aqua paint, and your brush needs to be wet, so just starting in the middle, and literally this is all you're going to do. I then moved on, and I did the Tempting Turquoise because I wanted that to dry before I added the green or the orange to it. So I went down the bottom and put my Tempting Turquoise down the bottom. And I like the little squiggly, not exactly perfect on the sides. I like it to show that it is watercolor, and I don't know, it just gives it that nice watercolor effect in the end. I'm going to move on to the orange because that doesn't matter if it blends too much into the yellow. And then I will do the green and the pink, but I just want this to dry before I carry on with it. But I think you get the idea there. And before you stamp any sentiment over any watercoloring that you've done, this needs to be absolutely dry, or your ink won't show up nicely on your cardstock. The last card we're making is this one. And again, I've included extra pieces for you so you can make the technique yourself. And we have got the basics of the card. You're going to adhere these pieces onto your crumb cake piece. Adhere your ribbon to the back of your crumb cake. Let me see if I can show you this quickly. So adhere that there. Pull it up where you want your knot. So where my fingers are is where I want my knot. So I'm going to hold that there, pull my ribbon up, cut it in the middle there, and then tie my knot. And that gives you equal pieces of leftover ribbon. Then you're going to adhere this piece that I've already done for you with your dimensionals on top of that, and adhere that whole piece onto your white cardstock. So to get this, I'm going to show you quickly how I did that. And some of you have done this with me in a class already in Seneca Falls. And what we're going to do is we're going to take your stamp, and starting with your lightest color, you're going to ink up your sponge and dab that onto your stamp. Then you're going to go with your next lightest color. In this case it's Daffodil Delight, and ink that where you want your Daffodil Delight. And then I used my darkest color, which was Tangerine Tango, and I didn't do too much Tangerine Tango because it's quite a vibrant color. And then when you're stamping on tissue paper, always make sure that the waxy side is facing down. If you stamp on the waxy side, it's really not going to dry. Stamp that down there. And again, the trick here is to let this dry. Whoops, sorry. Let that dry. Once it's dry, you're going to crumple it up quite severely. So let's pretend this is completely dry. I would give it a minute or two just to make sure it's completely dry. Crumple that up, really get some good crinkles in there, and then carefully open that up again. What you don't want to do is you don't want to open it completely. The idea is you want the crinkles. Use a regular glue stick. Fill in the piece that you want your piece to be stuck to. It can be a circle, it can be a square, rectangle, anything that you prefer. And then you're going to stick that down. You see I've not undone all the crinkles, and I'm just going to push it down flat into my glued up circle. And it's not dry. You can see my fingers have lifted some of the ink and smudged that around. And then it's up to you. You can either fold it over the back and adhere that down, or you can use your scissors and trim it out. What I did in this case, because it's a circle and it's easier and I've got the equipment, I put my tissue paper onto a square piece of paper, and then I ran it through the Big Shot. So you can see that the wrinkles are nice and smooth and even. But you don't have to run it through the Big Shot. You can always just use your scissors and trim it. And you can put it on a square or rectangle piece of paper, like I said. It doesn't have to be a circle. So that's that. And that is how you end up with these 4 cards. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you've got any questions, please don't hesitate to give me a call, send me an email, send me a text. Thank you very much, and I hope you enjoyed the class.